What's up, YouTube? This is going to be basically a sort of rambling video as well as an update in what you guys can expect to see on my channel, as well as I'll just start off with a huge thank you. Thanks everybody who's been subscribing and watching. It means a lot to me. So I haven't been that active lately, and I apologize for that. A part of me, I'm not going to lie, every now and then I kind of get turned off from EU4 a little bit, just because I've spent thousands of hours, quite frankly, playing this game, and I went through a bit of a procrastinating, can't be bothered playing the game phase, but I feel like I'm over that. I'm keen to jump back in with the launch of this new patch. With that being said, I don't want to digress too much into it, but I was doing a Romanian stream. I started as Moldavia, and although we were doing just about as well as you could possibly do, I felt like I was entirely dependent on the AI of my allies to protect us from the Ottomans, and the AI was, quite frankly, behaving so appallingly bad in this last patch that it was just doing my head in, and I didn't even feel motivated. After so long, if we look at our incompatible saves here, we actually look like we're quite formidable in terms of our size, and even still, like geographically, we are very comparable to the Ottomans, but they're just so much more powerful than us. It's not even comparable, and we're entirely dependent on our allies, and yeah, I just didn't feel like I had the motivation. With that being said, I was also working on an Albanian strategy or starter guide. Let's see if this loads. And yeah, if I just ramble about that really quickly, you can see here it's 1488. We're not doing too bad. I'm allied with Austria, Florence, and Theodora. I was trying to vassalize Theodora, actually, diplo-vassalize them. Yeah, so it would be a matter of time here. Austria's rivaling the Ottomans. We would wait for favors and bring him in and crush the Ottomans and sort of take this Orthodox region. Doing quite well. And I learned a lot about Albania. In fact, if this patch is sort of, the dynamic is similar, which it's probably not, to be honest, considering Venice starts next year and so on and so forth. This region's actually changed a lot. Yeah, so most of what I learned is probably not going to be that viable. But regardless, I was feeling like Albania, I was really getting the hang of them, and I felt like I could execute some good playthroughs. The problem is I couldn't really break it down to a sort of concise strategy. It is just so RNG based, or it was so RNG based. Yeah, I don't want to digress and break it down, but basically the point is you can make a series of small allies and defeat them in a defensive war if they attack you immediately. I kind of nailed that strategy. The problem is they might not attack you, right? They might just attack Byzantium and Jandar and take all these cores and become incredibly more powerful while you're unable to really do anything, which means you're more dependent on more powerful allies, which you can actually obtain because you're Catholic. But it just means that every single game is completely sporadically different, and making a proper strategy proved to be really quite difficult. That is what I was working on, and now I think with the launch of this patch, even if I had finished a video, I would have to actually investigate whether in any way, shape, fashion, form it was still viable. So I'm essentially scrapping what I have been working on, and I apologize for my inactivity. I really appreciate the support and the growth on the channel. So instead of having another good guide like what I consider my previous guides, like on Jandar, you're just getting a random rambling video, and I hope that suffices. I apologize for that. So with that being said, I mentioned how abysmal the AI was behaving in the last patch, and I'm under the impression that they have kind of reworked that. My impression that I'm under is that basically you can have one fort as a nation per region or area. And yeah, the dynamic has completely changed, and hopefully the AI behaves much better. However, I'm not going to depend on it. I'm not going to depend on it. I learnt my lesson playing a weaker nation dependent on allies. So what I'm going to be doing as I stream throughout next week is I'm going to be taking on something a little bit more ambitious, which I haven't yet gotten myself, but I'm going to be doing it as a super powerhouse nation, most likely Austria, and that is one faith. I'm going to be working on the one faith achievement. Hopefully I can one-shot it as Austria, and I'm doing that because I don't want to depend on the AI. I can kind of investigate how the AI is behaving throughout that game, and at that point I can decide maybe we can take on a more challenging or more playing as a weaker nation where our allies might actually in some way be of benefit to us rather than just walk around aimlessly like they were doing last patch. So that's what I'm going to be doing throughout next week. Coming up is streaming. I'm actually going to be streaming 6 days a week from then on, hopefully. I'm going to try to sustain that for as long as I can. Just a forewarning, there will be a link down below for my Twitch if you guys want to follow over there. But I'm warning you that my internet is not very good, unfortunately, and therefore the quality of my stream is not very good. I hope that that is not an issue in the future once I essentially have access to better internet. So I'm just throwing it out there. Also, I'll be starting at about 5 AM my time. I'm going to be getting up early and streaming early, which is 5 UTC plus 12. So if you guys, I hope that works for you guys. If you look up UTC plus 12 hours, that's when I'm starting. Essentially, this is European Central Standard Time, whatever time zone, like London. I think it's either 11 hours or 12 hours different to the London time zone. I hope you guys can get the hang of that and be there. Time zones are confusing when you're over in New Zealand and there's nobody out here with you. Where's New Zealand? Got him. Got him. Yeah, I really like this patch so far, how in the political map mode the terrain looks as though you're in the terrain map mode. It's pretty cool looking. I like that change. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be up to. As far as, I just want to wrap up this video, but I've been basically thinking of ideas, guys. I want to be more consistent and upload more consistently some content for you guys, not things that are strategies that actually require me to just be ridiculously good at the game and come up with stuff. Not trying to be arrogant or anything like that. My point is that if I struggle to come up with something and I'm kind of wasting my time essentially, like trying to figure out how to make a really crazy strategy on Albania, I'm not uploading. And as a young channel that is growing, I would like to upload more consistently, but at the same time I don't want to flood you guys with just garbage, much like this current video of just rambling. I don't want to just upload nothing but that. So I have some ideas, and those of you who are watching a video like this, which isn't kind of like clickbait, like Byzantium starting strategy, are probably more enthusiastic about the channel, especially if you've still managed to watch up until this point. So make sure to give me some feedback, and if you have your own ideas on what you would like me to upload, I'll take it into consideration. But I was thinking about a series where I basically, I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but I think there would be something to this actually. I think this is a little bit different from a lot of the other EU4 content. And that would basically be pretty simple, which is a nation spotlight. Whether I would call it that or something else, we could change. But for example, a lot of people, when I've been doing more crazy videos, you know, starting strategies on smaller and weaker nations, and a lot of people joke about, I've mentioned this before, how they can't beat France as Castile, for example. So I could play as not necessarily weaker nations and making a good strategy, just a nation in general, and I would try to make it really quite deliberate and informative, and really acknowledge a lot of the more unique aspects of that nation that you might not know. Like, for example, Austria has a unique event which will fire every single game that you play, which gives you the option to actually have +1 Diplo reputation and -5% idea cost for the entirety of the game. So that is something that some people might not know if they haven't played Austria, that Austria is, not only do they have these Diplo reputation and Diplo slots and so on, but they also get just a straight up plus bonus, and the same with Sweden and so on and so forth. So I could basically do a nation spotlight, and as maybe the footage would be me sort of executing a strategy on undermining France as Castile, for example, while I just try to kind of very in a precise, articulate manner, I go through and talk about the ideas and traditions and ambitions of the nation, the different most common or viable ways to play the nation, and what I think is strong and weak and unique, completely unique or interesting facts about that nation. And yeah, in terms of uploading to YouTube, the branding would be really nice and easy. It wouldn't be that hard to kind of make good thumbnails of each nation that is being spotlighted, and pretty quickly you guys would see, based on that branding, you would know what to expect. Like if it was a nation like Austria and you know all about Austria, you could just not watch the video, whereas if it was of a nation, of course, again, you'd be able to see just by the thumbnail and the name of the series to give you an idea of what the video would be about. So you might think, okay, you've played France, they're boring, you know everything, the ins and out of them, whereas Muscovy might be more intriguing to you. Yeah, so that's just an idea that I've kind of had, is I just hit up a lot of the nations and sort of, yeah, information about them in general. So although that doesn't sound like much, at least to me it doesn't sound that incredible, let me know what you think, if that's something you'd be interested in. And yeah, in the meantime, I'm going to be working on another interesting video now that I've basically scrapped my Albanian video. And I'm also going to be very active on Twitch in the coming weeks. So I hope to see you there. And if you've watched up until this point, thank you very much for watching. And take care, everybody.